Even before its release in May 1994, the Mysteriis Dom Sathanas was a mythical album. Created amongst blood, fire and death, Mayhem's debut album changed extreme music forever, and 30 years later is still considered one of the pinnacles of black metal. In this series of podcasts, different artists comment on the importance that the album had in their lives and careers. My name is Matías Gallardo, and this is the Mysteriis Dom Sathanas 30 years. Snorre Ruch is a Norwegian guitarist. In 1990, he formed Thorns, a band that would achieve cult status in the Norwegian black metal scene thanks to the Grimmirk demo. Between 1992 and 1993, he was part of Mayhem under the pseudonym of Blackthorn. Although he wasn't part of the recording of the Mysteriis Dom Sathanas, he assisted the band with rehearsals, lyrics, and the album cover art. Some of his riffs were even included on the record. A year later, he was sentenced to 8 years in prison as an accomplice to the murder of Euronymous. In 2001, he released Thorns' self-titled album and is currently preparing 2 new studio albums, one of which he plans to release in 2025 through Peaceville Records. I wanted to start asking you about your first contact with the band. I understand that it had to do with Marius from what became Arcturus and Morten, right?
Yeah, actually we were in contact with Mayhem before we got in contact with Marius and the Morten guys.
Ah, okay.
It started out by me and my friend listening to this radio show in Trondheim, Couch Louch, I think it was called, after a DRI song or something. And they played like hardcore, punk, thrash metal and crossover styles and all kinds of noisy music. And I think they had an interview with Mayhem and they played some of the Death Crush and Pure Fucking Armageddon stuff. So when we heard this, we were like, wow, this is something really radical. We want to get in contact with these guys. And we wrote them a letter with where we ordered the Death Crush demo on cassette. And we sent them some money and kind of a weird letter. And we got a reply with a couple of demos and handwritten letter. And they had like covered the cassettes in toilet paper and stuffed it into an envelope. So it was like what they call it, symbolic wrapping. Euronymous had written in his handwriting. So we got in contact with them and we went down to visit, and at the same time got in touch with Marius from Mortem, and from there I had contact with him, and I think it was the first time we met Marius. I took him or we went to a guitar shop and I played some of the things I was doing, and he immediately like, this is cool, I want to participate. So from there he was like a part of what became Stigma Diabolicum. But we had like regular visits to the guys in Mayhem ever since that the cassette version of Death Crush.
So this was late 80s, 88, 89?
Yeah, around there I think. I'm not good with dates and years, but I think it's probably around there. Since I think Grimmirk was 89. I'm not too sure about that, but around that time, yes.
Okay, and then you followed the band and were in touch with them. Did you see them when they play live in these very few shows that they did in Norway at the time?
Yeah, one, I think it was Yes Same or something like that, or maybe Fredrikstad or Sarpsborg. I don't remember exactly where it was, but I was to one of their shows. And it was with some other bands as well. I think maybe Dark Throne, Equinox, somebody else. But yeah, it was really chaotic. I can't remember clearly where it was or who was there or anything. But I remember they played, yes.
And was that an experience that, because, you know, you get this feeling with other musicians that everyone was there and then everyone wanted to play their own band after watching that?
Yeah. Actually, at that time, I felt like everyone already was playing. So I think the guys I were there with, like Bor, Faust, and Marius and Harald from Thorns. Everyone was like doing some music already. But I guess they might have had shows earlier or later where a lot of people also got like more inspired. But we were after, I think it's about the same time as Death Crush was released. I was like at the verge of picking up my own guitar or buying a guitar, and I think like it was the same period where when I started to play myself. So I think already I had like ambitions to make music, but it really helped with hearing Mayhem and that kind of more radical style, and knowing that it was possible even for Norwegians to make music.
Yes, and about the contact you had with the band, and how often did you guys used to see or speak? Because at the time, of course, it was difficult to be in touch all the time.
In the start, it was by letters, and pretty soon after that, we like went down to visit them because there were so few people who were into this extreme music. So even if you had to like travel for 7 hours to get in touch with people, you could do that. I remember we visited them on various places where they lived. I think maybe first we visited when they lived together, Jørn and Øystein, Euronymous and Necrobutcher, at Langhus maybe, and sometimes at Euronymous' parents' home, and then they got this place on Krokstad when Pelle Dead came to live with them. So we've been different places and visited them like sometimes maybe between 5 and 8 times we went down to hang out and maybe stayed some days. So we got to know them pretty well and play a little together. I think I had my guitar with me and used to play with Euronymous. Also, he visited me in Trondheim once when I still lived together with my parents. So my parents remember we were sitting on the floor with one guitar each in like Native American style or lotus, feet crossed on the floor with the guitar and playing together. Yeah, it was like the seldom friend you have that have this weird interests, same as you. It was kind of natural to hang out.
And that's around the time when each of you was starting to develop their own style and influence each other in a way.
Yeah. I think we did. I think I was very influenced by the guitar sound of Mayhem and the rawness of that, and I liked like the radical, or I thought they were radical, the music, the riffs. I did my own things, and I know that Euronymous was inspired by me and I was inspired by him, so we had a lot of cross-referencing going on. So I think we picked up a lot of stuff from each other.
And in your sense, just to clarify a bit more on this, what you got from him was the more sort of extreme speed, fast way of playing,
and style. Yeah, and maybe he got some of the tonality from me and the chord experiments, but it's difficult to say what came from where, because everything floats together when you are in creative process like that, and you pick up things from all over, and sometimes you discuss on the telephone, I did this with this note there and put my fingers like this and that happened, and you go back and try and that's cool, but you do something completely different because you misunderstand or something. So it's but it's like the importance of it is that like you work against each other like an inspiring source. I do that with other people now as well, especially with Sati. We discuss music, and even if we don't like talk about the same thing, you just got a drive to try something new, and I know we two also have had like a lot of cross-referencing going on.
Okay, so gravitating around Mayhem and around the guys and being in touch with them, they were developing slower maybe at the time. Was of course the situation with Pele when he died, so I think that put things to stop at the time. When did you perceive that recording the Mysteriis and finishing the album was becoming a reality, something that was really going to happen?
I guess I don't know how long, but at least for some time before they went to the Grieghallen in studio, I've heard some of the songs. I've heard Øystein play them. I've seen them rehearse the songs with Pelle, and I really liked the material. I remember. I think they were like maybe 4 songs finished when he died. At the time after that, I don't remember too much. It was like kind of muddy, and I don't know how much we were in contact because I really liked Pelle, and I was a little weirded out by the way Euronymous dealt with it. So maybe, I guess, I don't remember clearly, but I guess I was like pulling a little away. So I think that maybe a year after that or something, I don't know the timeline between his death and the Mysteriis, but at least Euronymous finished all the songs and got them recorded in Grieghallen. And I remember I got some tapes from like the early mixes when he has like recorded just 2 guitars and the drums, and I really liked the material. Then I was asked if I could help out when Attila was coming up to rehearse the vocals, and I did some rehearsals together with Mayhem and Attila, and I got actually prior to that I got also a request to like go through all the lyrics because Pelle had written I had a folder of lyrics with mostly Pelle's lyrics where things weren't like, nothing was assigned to any song. There were like Funeral Fog, what's it called? I don't remember the title. Freezing Moon, and a couple of more, I think, were like done with Pelle in advance. So they were like kind of clear what lyrics wise and vocal arrangement wise, but then there were like 4 more songs that didn't have lyrics assigned to them, and I had like this folder of lyrics, and I had to like figure a way to make the lyrics fit into the remaining songs. So I did some job on that, and I talked to Attila about it, and tried to like show him where I was thinking about having lyrics, so he could like sing there and there. So it was like more of a vocal arrangement job and a lyric job. So that was my involvement mainly with that album. I didn't get to play any guitars on it, and I just contributed with some riffs from the Grimmirk tape, which I like threw away from me, and Øystein wanted to have some of the riffs for one of the songs, so that was okay. But apart from that, I wasn't too involved with that album, except I was present when Attila did vocal recordings. And at the same time, I took the pictures of the band, which is on the album. And I did a drawing that was used for the cover, I think, the cathedral.
Okay, well, a couple of things. You mentioned the lyrics and the work you did along with Attila when he went to Norway to record the album. I understand that was a year after the album, the instrumental part was ready. I understand that the instrumental was 92, he came in 93. So you started to collaborate and being a member of the band, I understand, for a couple of months after the album was instrumentally ready.
Yeah.
Okay. When working with Attila in the 4 remaining songs, I understand they were Cursed in Eternity, Life Eternal, From the Dark Past, and The Mysteriis. what was the logic of that collaboration? I mean, you had found, or someone had kept a notebook from Pele and gave it to you, and just it was your criteria to put together those lyrics.
Yeah, it was Euronymous who had this folder with a lot of sheets with lyric IDs and more or less completed lyrics. So I had like to listen to the 4 remaining songs. I guess they had like work titles already. I think Life Eternal was kind of intended for having that lyric he wrote, and the Mysteriis Dom Sathanas as well had like his lyrics and a couple of suggestions for lyrics from other people. I thought like it's best to stick with Pele's lyrics and make them fit to the song. And the other two were, I don't remember how complete the lyrics were, but I think they were more or less complete. But I had to like maybe add a verse or change up something to make it fit riffs and stuff like that. So it wasn't like I don't feel I wrote any lyrics for it. I just feel that I like manipulated them into fitting the song properly, and I figured out, okay, this might work as intro music wise, and then maybe the vocals come in here, and see how long the the lyrics last before you get into a new part and stuff like that. So it was more like, I feel it's right to call it an arrangement job.
Yeah, so there weren't any notes from Pele, just with any arrangement idea or on how the songs should be sung.
No, except where it was like obvious. I think on the Mysteriis there's like a refrain part, something that reoccurs, and I just had to like, okay, music-wise, this will be the refrain and this will be the verse. So okay, we put the refrain here and the verses there, and that might work. But for the other songs, I think they were like just written down lyrics without even reoccurring refrains or anything. It was pretty developed notes, but not complete.
Yeah, but it's interesting nonetheless, because the songs weren't structured like a regular type song, like chorus, verses, and stuff like that. And speaking with Attila, I mean, the collaboration had to be close because he not just was living there at the time. He came from Hungary, but he also didn't speak Norwegian, and you had to speak in English. So there had to be some close communication there in order to get him to get the idea, right?
Yeah.
And did he suggest ideas or vocal arrangements? Because the final product is completely different from what everyone was expecting. I understand.
Yeah, sort of. I don't remember much apart from the rehearsals and the recording. I guess we sat down, listened to the music and discussed, but I can't remember clearly when or where that happened. So I think it was all kind of because he came for some days, and I think it was like really quick. And I think when we went into the studio and he started to recording vocals, it just happened much there and then. So I don't think I ever thought about like, okay, he's singing in the wrong place, or he's doing something completely different, or anything like that. I just think that when he performed, it was so interesting to watch him perform, because he was like all into it with his whole gesture, and I think it was like he wasn't standing straight up and down when he sang. He was like moving all around and living into it. So it was so interesting and weird. And I think, okay, this is how it becomes. This is how it will be. And I never thought second thought about like he wasn't doing what he was supposed to or anything like that. It was like, okay, Euronymous was happy, we were happy, and it became what it became.
Excellent. So at the time when he was recording vocals, you were witnessing that along with Peten, which of course was producing the album, but also the rest of the band, because everything was ready but the vocals.
Yeah.
And the reaction was like, this is something that you cannot believe that is happening, that this guy is doing that.
Yeah. Because Attila, he has his own style, and on that album he was like really out there. It was kind of spaced out compared to what we was used to. It was different to what we expected, maybe. So we were like taken. What do you call it? We weren't prepared, and so it was like just this experience of something really different that you didn't know what to think about, and it was cool. We like this feeling that okay, this is something completely different, and it's weird and it's cool, but then your usual references is just blown away, and you can't like, okay, but you can do different this or different that. You have no, you're naked. You can't like, it's difficult to relate to. So we were like, okay, this is what it's going to, this is how it's going to sound. Okay. It was like, it was pretty weird.
Yeah, and being so close of the band at the time, and being in the process of creating the album, I understand that you guys must have got the feeling that this was something different from even the very couple of albums that of Norwegian black metal that were already released. Dark Throne, Bursum, Immortal was completely different from that also.
Yeah.
How would you describe this quality that made the album different from those albums that we mentioned, like Blazing the Northern Sky, the Bursum albums?
I think at the time I got the idea that everything sounded different from the start. Dark Throne was this thing, Mayhem was this own thing. Everyone had like a different style. The recordings I've heard of the Mayhem album earlier were like simplistic, just 2 guitars and drums, and it sounded really raw. And when I came to the studio and listened to like the whole mix with the layers of guitars and bass and everything, it was different than the first mixes. And later I've been thinking that, okay, it became this very layered, grandiose, symphonic album. But I kind of liked the way it sounded before, with a little more simplistic, raw sounding thing, not so polished maybe. So also the demos for the album with the Pelle had like a different feel to it. It was a little more raw. I personally like the raw feeling of music, so I think maybe that the Mysteriis album was like a step in a direction of metal and Norwegian black metal that I think was not my personal best taste. And with Attila's vocals on top of that, it became like really, I think it's a little spaced out album. It's very grandiose, and I like it, but if I could choose, I would like strip it down and have it like a little rawer. I guess this is spitting in church, but this is my personal taste. So I know a lot of people love this album, and it has become a great classic and a milestone and a reference point for many. But if I was like more involved with the process, I would like put my arguments to like not having that many guitars, not having so big soundscape, maybe keep it a little rawer. But I think it was like Øystein Euronymous' vision at the time was to like make it really grandiose. I've been trying that as well, done a lot of songs that I like layer a lot of guitars and get this symphonic feel from, and it's cool. That's one thing, but today my taste goes more to like the rawer sound, so it's a matter of taste.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you guys ever discuss that? I mean, the decision to go to record there, because I understand that before the recording, Euronymous sent Peyton like a letter with a lot of notes and technical stuff that he wanted to achieve.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't discuss this much with him. I discussed some more like meta or like ideas with him always early on and along the way. But and I always think he wanted to like achieve a greatness, a grandiosity of music. So I guess he had like a clear vision for what he wanted to do, and I think the album was like, that was the most perfect he could make.
When the album was ready, then of course it was like a year after the recording that was released. I wonder, when did you listen to the album for the first time?
I don't remember. I'm not sure.
But it was like many years after that?
No, I think I heard it. Yeah, of course, first I heard it before it came out as like rough mixes and stuff like that, and then Attila's vocals were recorded, and it had to go through mixing and mastering. I don't know. I'm not sure when I heard it the first time.
And when you finally heard it the first time, what was your impression?
I guess I was a little overwhelmed by the fact that it was so grandiose, and and that I wished for a more raw sound. But you know, when you hear something the first time, you like almost always it's like, okay, what is this? You have to adjust to it and listen to it many times. So, but I think I remember like thinking that, okay, I still have the cassette with the demos and with the rough mixes, and was like, okay, I still got that. Yeah, I think like on a taste and musical level, I was like disagreeing a little to the final result. But yeah, of course, it was a great album, and I listened to it as well. So
Okay.
but yeah, you know, I'm the kind of guy who's like, okay, this is the album. I like the demos better.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm always like that. I have like the old Morbid Angel demos, and I'm like, oh, those are much better than the album. And yeah, because you know, I think that about my own material as well. Sometimes that, okay, in the perfection of or in the process of perfecting this into an album, we lose a lot of good stuff. I am on a quest to try to like capture the music when it's created and use it like that, instead of like going back to expensive studios and tweaking everything until you don't recognize the original spirit anymore. So that is always a problem, I think, and it's very difficult to bring the spontaneous energy from the time where the music is created and processed and arranged and baked together and done this and that too, and then you go into the studio for a short time and have to perform the same thing, and you lose a lot along the way, I think. So I hope to, in the future, only to release demos.
Well, you know that speaking one time with Christopher from Ulver, and why these albums, you know, those early Norwegian albums, are still fascinating people at the time. He mentioned something that it had to do with the innocence, maybe, that people was recording things without actually knowing how to do that, and you know, the sound that basically would scare away many people for its rawness and its violence was maybe something that contributed to that. This innocence of not knowing things was a factor.
Yeah. Maybe especially for me and for Thorns, we like when we made the Grimmick tape. It was, first of all, it wasn't complete. It was just guitar and bass, and I don't know if I didn't like the sound of the guitar amp or what made me do it, but I plugged the overdrive pedal straight into the recorder, and it's really harsh sound from that. But it was like maybe in lack of better equipment, maybe in lack of knowledge. It was unheard of to do that. You shouldn't do it, maybe, but we did. That was what we got at the time, and it sounds so different. I guess some of the lack of knowledge, lack of gear makes you do things that become so out of the ordinary that people listen to it. They really appreciate that something is so different. And suddenly the lack of knowledge and lack of gear becomes a quality that is sought after. I got a lot of questions about how did I make that sound from the Grimric tape, for instance. And I'm like, I didn't have a guitar amplifier, so I just plugged the drive boxes straight into the table, and that became the sound, and that became the quality. And even if it's like shocking, maybe it has a quality that is different, and people like different. So it's a success.
And it's funny because that tape, the Grimmer tape, was never intended to be released. It was something that just came out.
Yeah, it's like a document we wanted to send to Faust and to Marius to rehearse to, or like to learn the songs. And Faust started copying it and sending it all over, and suddenly it was like, known all over the world. So, and it's recorded on a Fostex 4-track cassette recorder in my bedroom. So you never know.
And how you feel about the fact that, well, I mean there are a couple of riffs from that demo in the Mysteriis album, because Euronymous asked for them. But how do you feel about being known as Thorns, this demo that has influence and been so let's say popular among many people?
Yeah, it's pretty weird. I remember thinking this is really weird that this tape we made in my bedroom would become all that, and it wasn't even supposed. I was a little thinking both ways. It's cool, but at the same time, it's a catastrophe that we didn't get the songs out with drums and lyrics before they were like everyone started to like talk about it. So at one side it's like, they should have been finished in a proper way. On the other side, it's really funny and really, what do you say, I feel honored that people like it, because if you had said to me back then that okay, we're going to send this out to people, I would like, no, you can't, don't do it, we have to do it proper. And maybe proper would be less good. Yeah, and also I know that a lot of people like it the way it is. So if we put drums and vocals on it, maybe for them I will ruin it. So yeah, it's a little strange. But I got the chance to make music again after that. So I'll make music with both lyrics and drums now.
And in fact, I think that if you ever re-recorded that, you will get someone saying, well, I like the demo better.
Of course. I anticipate that. I expect that. But it will be cool for someone to hear the songs as intended as well. So we actually have plans to try to record some of the songs at least the best we can, and see if they stand the light of day as they were intended as well. So we'll see.
A couple of things left that I wanted to discuss before we end. You mentioned that you were around at the time with Mayhem in the recording, and also took the pictures from the members of the band, and also put together the cover, which has the Nidaros Cathedral. Can you explain a bit about the process on how you get to the cover?
Yeah, the process is kind of unclear, because what happened is I had this, I used to like take photocopies from newspapers in black and white, and started to ink them. I use a pen to make like stronger contrasts, and even like blanco to like make things black and white, to make like more dramatic expressions out of like ordinary pictures. And I think I've shown this. I've done this to Nidaros Dom picture I found in the newspaper, I guess. And I showed this to Euronymous, and he was like, we're using that for the cover. And I was like, okay. So when the cover was going, or the record was, the album was recorded, I was, I guess, I was requested to like send over the photo or the artwork. And it was really rough. It was really like not ready for album cover. It was a mess. So I took it down to a graphic artist in Trondheim, and we scanned the drawing and put it into a computer and started like cleaning it up a bit, because it was like splatters and wrong lines and it was messy. So we tidied it up a bit, and then I think we sent it on a diskette down to Oslo. And from there, I'm not quite sure what happened. Because I'm not sure if it was the actual drawing that I made they used at all, but it's very similar. So something has happened from the point where we sent the diskette with the drawing and until it was assembled on the cover. I wasn't involved in putting the logo there or the title there or the church there, because I think the church is a little stretched. It's not in the right proportions. So I feel it's a little messed up because it's supposed to be taller and slimmer, but it's cool anyway. So, and I think it's my drawing that's on the cover, but I'm not completely sure. I can't tell. I don't even have the original anymore, so I can't compare either. So because the drawing is like A4 paper, and on the cover it's like much smaller, so I can't make out the details and stuff. So I'm not really sure what has been going on there, but supposedly I made that drawing at least.
And the original was lost.
Yeah, I don't know where that's at anymore.
Well, and to end, I wanted to know, because with the years, of course, this album has become so iconic and so many people reference it up until today. You've been in touch with the band, you reconnected with them later in the years, even played with them in a couple of occasions. So I wanted to know what's the place of this album in your life currently? If it's something that it's of importance of you, it was just something else that you did among many other things. How do you view this album, and what's your relationship with it now?
Yeah, I think it's one of the most important albums in the Norwegian scene still, also for me, because it's this huge reference point for everything. I'm thinking that, this new album that I'm making should be the new the Mysteriis. That's my goal. Like, I need to put another reference point there, and I want to compete with it, if you know what I mean. I appreciate it so much that I want to compete with it, and I think, I guess that many other bands also do that. They're like, this is the ultimate album, I want to compete with this. So I want to compete with this album, and I want to compete with a couple of other albums as well. So it's a really important reference, and it's something I'm very glad to have been as a minor part of, and I can like put it on my wall and say like, I was a part of that as well. And it's important for me because I haven't like released many records myself, and I guess that album is the most known product I've been associated with. So of course it's really important.